Coming to terms with the Word of God and reconceptualizing ourselves based on the Word of God is an important part of the Armenian tradition. Armenians, as you recall, used to be Zoroastrian, and the Zoroastrian religion, the god of the Zoroastrian religion, was someone called Ahura Mazda, and the name Ahura Mazda means wise lord. Now, Ahura Mazda was understood to be compassionate and just. He was understood to be the creator of the universe. And Saint Mesrob, who was evangelizing to the Armenians, understood how the true God really was, and at the same time he understood how the Armenians conceived of God. So Saint Mesrob made a conscious decision to try to speak to the Armenians in a way that they could connect to when he was talking about God. The Armenians conceived of God being Ahura Mazda, who was this wise lord. And so when Saint Mesrob, who developed the Armenian alphabet and began translating the scriptures into Armenian, he could have started at any place in the scriptures. One would think that he would probably start at Genesis 1, chapter 1, or maybe start with the New Testament, or maybe start with John 1:1. But the place he chose to start was a passage in Proverbs. It was Proverbs chapter 1, verse 2. And the first words that he ever wrote in Armenian, the first words ever written in Armenian, were Janachel Zimastuchun, to recognize wisdom. He chose words to help the Armenians change their concept about who God was, to recognize wisdom. He helped them identify themselves as followers of Christ. He helped them understand that Jesus is the source of wisdom. And if you know something of wisdom already, if you have a connection with wisdom already, then indeed you already do have a connection with Christ. Saint Mesrob was adjusting the minds of the Armenian people. And pretty much all of us in here, maybe a couple don't, but pretty much all of us remember tuning TV stations and tuning radio stations with a dial. And something can be very fuzzy and very unclear, but if you just adjust it a little bit, and all of a sudden it becomes very clear. That's what the evangelist did. That's what St. Mesrob did to the Armenians when he was preaching. He just made a little adjustment in their misunderstanding of God so they could have a correct understanding as to the source of wisdom.